Have you ever wondered what happens when you hitch a ride with a stranger? In the vast expanse of the American heartland, there's a stretch of desolate highway. It's the kind of place where the horizon is an endless tapestry of darkness, and the only companionship is the lonesome howl of the wind. It's here that our story begins, under the cold glow of a solitary moon and the flickering stars above. Imagine, if you will, a lone hitchhiker. He's a drifter, a nomad, a man with no destination, only the road beneath his feet. The night is his blanket, the moon his lantern, as he traverses the lonely highway. His thumb is outstretched, a silent plea to the sparse traffic that occasionally passes by. Then, like a phantom emerging from the shadows, a semi-truck pulls up. Its headlights cut through the darkness, creating a tunnel of light that illuminates the hitchhiker. The driver, a silhouette against the artificial glow of the dashboard, offers a ride. The hitchhiker, grateful for a reprieve from the biting cold, readily accepts. What the hitchhiker doesn't know is that this semi-truck driver harbors a dark secret. He's not your ordinary trucker, hauling goods from one state to another. He is something far more sinister, a predator masquerading in the guise of a good Samaritan. His cargo isn't what you'd expect. It's not boxes or pallets, but something far more chilling. But our hitchhiker is none the wiser. He's just thankful for the warm cab and the promise of a few miles less to walk. He has no idea that he's just stepped into the lair of a wolf, that his fate is now intertwined with that of the semi-truck driver. As the semi-truck drove into the night, the hitchhiker was oblivious to the chilling journey that awaited him. Who was this semi-truck driver, and what was his dark secret? He seemed like your typical long-haul trucker, a man whose face was weathered from years of battling the elements, his eyes holding a 1,000-yard stare from countless hours on the road. But beneath this seemingly ordinary exterior lurked a predator, a man with a taste for the macabre. This was no ordinary semi-driver. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, a man who had perfected the art of deception. His truck wasn't just his livelihood, it was his hunting ground. He roamed the highways and back roads, preying on the unsuspecting, those lost souls who needed a ride, a little help to get to their next destination. His backstory was as murky as a foggy night on a deserted highway. Raised in the backwoods, he was a loner, a drifter. His parents were long gone and he had no ties, no anchors. His only constant was the open road. His first victim, a young woman, was found on a desolate stretch of highway. Her remains were scattered, left as a gruesome testament to his savage nature. The next, a middle-aged man, disappeared without a trace, his fate only known to the driver and the lonely highway. Each victim's story was told with chilling detail, painting a picture of a man who was not just a predator, but a cannibal. His truck, a monstrous rig, was not just a vehicle. It was his lair, his kitchen. The back was fitted with tools of his dark trade, knives that gleamed with an ominous shine, saws that could cut through bone like butter. The smell of fear and death hung in the air, a grim reminder of his gruesome feasts. Behind the wheel, he was a master of his craft, luring his victims with a friendly smile and promises of a safe journey. His charm was his weapon, his deceit his shield. Little did the hitchhiker know he was not just in a truck but a moving slaughterhouse. What happens when the hitchhiker stumbles upon the driver's semi's gruesome secret? Imagine the scene. A quiet night on the highway. The distant hum of the semi's engine is the only sound breaking the silence. The hitchhiker, weary and grateful for the ride, starts to feel an eerie sense of unease. A small yet insistent voice at the back of his mind begins to whisper, something is not right. As the miles pass by, the driver's initially friendly demeanor starts to show cracks. His laughter becomes a little too forced, his eyes darting to the rearview mirror a tad too frequently. The hitchhiker's discomfort grows, but he dismisses it as paranoia born from too many hours on the road. But then, in the semi's cabin, he notices something odd, a peculiar smell, faint but persistent, masked by the scent of stale coffee and gasoline. The smell of decay. The hitchhiker's heart starts to race. He forces himself to look around subtly, not wanting to alert the driver. There, under the driver's seat, he spots something that makes his blood run cold, a small, gnawed bone. Suddenly, everything falls into place. The driver's nervous glances, the strange smell, the bone. The driver is not just a semi-driver, he's a predator, a cannibal. The hitchhiker is not his guest, he's his next meal. But there's more. The hitchhiker notices an old, worn-out map marked with strange symbols. As he looks closer, he realizes the symbols mark the locations of unsolved missing persons cases. The driver isn't just a cannibal, he's a serial killer. The hitchhiker is frozen in terror, trapped in a moving death trap. He's alone, miles from the nearest town, with a man who sees him as nothing more than food. A bone-chilling realization dawned upon the hitchhiker. He was not the passenger, he was the prey. Can the hitchhiker escape the clutches of the cannibalistic semi-driver? Now the stakes are higher than ever. The air in the semi-truck is palpable with tension, thick as molasses and equally as suffocating. Our hitchhiker, a mere pawn in this deadly game of cat and mouse, is trapped within the confines of this metal beast. His heart races, pounding against his ribcage like a desperate prisoner against his cell bars. His mind is a whirlwind of fear and determination, spinning with thoughts of escape. Every second counts. The semi-driver, a predator in his own right, is relentless. His eyes, cold and predatory, never leave the rearview mirror, watching his prey squirm in discomfort. The hitchhiker can feel the weight of his gaze, a tangible reminder of the danger he's in. The truck's engine growls ominously, the sound echoing in the hitchhiker's ears, a grim soundtrack to his impending doom. But he's not ready to give up, not yet. Survival is a powerful motivator, and he's fueled by the sheer will to live. He takes a deep breath, steadying his shaking hands. He needs a plan. He scans the cab, searching for anything he can use to his advantage. His eyes land on the truck's door handle. It's a long shot, but it's his only shot. The semi-driver's eyes flicker to the road ahead, momentarily distracted. This is it. The hitchhiker seizes his chance. With a surge of adrenaline, he lunges for the door handle, his heart pounding in his ears. The world seems to slow down as he pulls at the handle, the cold metal biting into his palm. There's a moment of deafening silence before the semi-driver realizes what's happening. His eyes widen in surprise, then narrow in fury. But it's too late. The hitchhiker has made his move, the truck door swinging open with a deafening creak. With a burst of adrenaline, the hitchhiker made his move. Who will survive this horrifying encounter on a lonely highway? Our tale of terror reaches its climax. The semi-truck cab becomes a claustrophobic ring of fear, the world outside a blur of desolate highway, forgotten by time. Two souls locked in a struggle for their very existence. One a monstrous aberration of humanity, the other a desperate wanderer caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. The semi-driver, a brute force of nature, lunges at the hitchhiker, his eyes gleaming with a primal hunger that chills the bone. His hands, calloused from years of gripping the steering wheel, reach out with a horrifying intent. The hitchhiker, though terrified, is fueled by an instinct to survive, his every move a desperate dance between life and death. The cab rocks with the intensity of their struggle. The hitchhiker, using every ounce of his cunning and resourcefulness, fights back. He strikes the driver with a tire iron, a shocking blow that sends the monstrous man reeling, but the semi-driver is not so easily defeated. He roars, a terrifying sound that echoes through the cab, shaking the hitchhiker to his core. Yet the hitchhiker does not falter. He knows that this is his only chance. With a roar of his own, he lunges at the driver, the tire iron swinging with all his might. There is a moment of deafening silence, a moment that stretches into eternity as the world waits with bated breath. And then the silence is broken by a chilling scream, a scream that pierces the night and shatters the desolate quiet of the lonely highway. The semi-driver slumps, defeated, his reign of terror abruptly brought to an end by the unlikeliest of heroes. In the end, the highway echoed with the screams of the defeated, leaving only the victor under the haunting moonlight.